Welcome back, everyone, to another day in the markets. By the way, this stream, I don't think I mentioned this last time, but this stream is also now live on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. And I think they're all up and running and working. So if you don't want to watch it on X, you can watch it on Twitch, Kick, or YouTube. It's also all the recordings I'll get uploaded to YouTube as well. So make sure the lagginess of X is not a reason why you're not watching this. I don't see any comments in the chat, so am I just by myself today? Is anyone here? To be honest, don't mind speaking to myself. Just do it a lot anyway. I literally think I'm by myself. Great. Am I doing this at the right time? Yeah. Okay. There we go. 1GM. Harry. Welcome back. So let's get through it. Look, it's another day. Oh, I think my stream was delayed. That's why. I think this is delayed. I need to figure out this delay. Now I just look like an idiot. Right, let's have a look at what is going on in the old markets today. And indeed, it is another day of another red day for stocks. Let's start with South Korea. This thing, Kospi, finished down another 6%. This is now down, I think, 40% from the high. 40% in whatever it is, about a month, just over a month. Like, that's pretty insane when you think about it. It's I don't know. I think it's pretty insane when you think about it. The stock market of an entire country just dropping 40% in about a month is kind of crazy. I guess it's not that crazy when you consider it's also up, 2x or 3x in a few months. So whatever goes up comes down eventually. But yeah, I still think it's an insane move. SK Hynix reported earnings. Look, I'm not always right, but I think what I had said in the last few days is exactly what happened here. As I said yesterday and the day before and the day before, I just didn't really know what they could possibly report for it to be positive for the stocks, because the reason why memory stocks are selling off is not because these guys are reporting bad numbers. It's because of fears of memory breakthrough efficiency, so that it ends up costing less and the usages becomes much lower for the hyperscalers. It's fears of market share reducing to China, to CXMT, and probably other players. And it's fears of CapEx spending, specifically on memory, reducing over time, especially as people maybe try and put R&D into other solutions. So these are three medium to long-term factors that don't change just because of a company's earnings. And then look, if earnings disappoint, like they did for SK Hynix, then people get fucked. People have to sell. People will dump it. And of course, for this, I mean, this finished limit down. I believe. I might be wrong, but I think it finished limit down. Maybe I'm wrong. Actually, I don't know. But people are levered on this stuff, right? And there's just tons of liquidations that I think must have gone on here, and probably gone on all the way down as well. So, I think the last thing I told you guys was that I wasn't going to take a position before SK Hynix earnings. I would look to buy any dips that present themselves after earnings. I set some bids for this last night, but they were too low. I mean, they were supposed to be stink bids, so I think my highest bid was around this level here, like just above the 1,000 mark. Obviously, it didn't hit, so I didn't catch any of this. What I did buy today is I bought some SanDisk. This is down a similar, very, very similar chart. I mean, you can't even tell the difference between these two charts, right? Very similar. Oh, so sorry. Where is it? This is the ADR. Yeah. These literally look exactly the same. They're almost identical. Pretty mental, right? But I bought this instead. Interesting that ADR is barely even lower today. The ADR is unchanged. SanDisk report earnings next week, and this has quite a big short ratio as well. I was looking at it earlier. The short interest on SanDisk is, let's see, is 5.3%. So people are definitely short this, which is good. I want to see that, because I feel like I'm trying to play for a bounce on these trades, and this level now is very close to this 200-day moving average, which I think is probably a good spot to buy, a good spot to bounce off. But when you're looking for bounces, there needs to be a reason for people to buy, and a short covering bid is often a good reason, the best reason for anyone to come in and buy when something's just sold off this much. So I added some of this today. I think my first print was at 1090, so a little bit high. Then I bought some more at 1025. Kind of tempted to buy a little bit more here. I have an order set at 1,000, but it's just kind of awkwardly hovering above that 1,000. I might just add. I'm going to buy 10 more shares here, I think, just now, just to get a bit more on pre FOMC. Waiting for that to be filled. There we go, filled. 1027 for one of them. So it brings my average down to 1078. It's funny because, when you have a strategy of catching knives, which I think is catching falling knives has been my best winning strategy, I think, of things I've made money on. But it always means that you just, day one, you're down, because something just keeps going lower and lower and lower. It's basically impossible to catch the bottom. And as soon as you buy, day one, you're instantly lower. And then as you average lower, your P&L is just red for a bit. And then you get this moment where it just shoots into the green when it all reverses. So, all the stuff that I've bought in the last 2 or 3 days, Google I should have held on to. Google's higher. I sold my calls too early trying to be disciplined, and they did they're up like another 100% from where I sold them, so I could have made some good money on that. But that's not the way to think about it. I was in it for a scalp, no real fundamental or long-term view. I think I sold them for about 40 or 50% return in 2 days. Take the money and move on to the next thing, because guess what? The next time I try and hold on to it, I'll end up going back in the red. But yeah, so I think SanDisk report earnings on the 5th of August. Now, I think, despite what I said about SK Hynix, I think the story is kind of starting to change here a little bit, where you've had Micron, good numbers, everything sold off. SK, like on the face of it, good numbers, maybe some elements of it below expectations, big sell-off. Probably now going into SanDisk numbers, I think it's max fear. You see, by the way, just separate point, you see, like, I literally just told you every time you buy it goes lower. I think I just get these 1 minute candles up. I literally just, as soon as I bought, it's just like almost hit new lows in the day. I'm surprised I just didn't quite hit 1,000. But yeah, that's my buy. Bang, big red candle, classic. I think there's now max fear going into these earnings. I think the SanDisk fundamental story is like a little bit different to Micron and the others, because of this idea of portable memory, I guess, NAND. So there may be some other elements that I think could play into this. But look, when these stocks, this thing went from, bring back the daily chart. This thing went from fucking, look, this is a real company, but I know we see this stuff all the time in crypto. But this is a real, like, multi-billion-dollar company. This thing went from 500 odd in March all the way to almost 2,500. It almost did a 5x from March to the end of June. Like, insane move. But when it does that, there's a bunch of people who are reading about it here, reading about the memory thesis and thinking, yeah, fuck, of course I'm so bullish on AI, and this makes total sense. Man, I wish I bought it here, or I would love to see a 20% drop or a 30% drop. I'm going to add some. This is now down fucking, 60, whatever it is, 65% from maybe even 70% from that level. And so that opportunity you wanted has presented itself without the fundamentals really changing. Now, there are more fears, but none of these fears were things that didn't exist back then. They're just people are more scared of them now than they were. So, nothing has really changed. It's down 70%, and you're not going to buy it. Most people won't buy it because they think, oh, fuck, like, I don't want to buy it. Or they made the mistake of buying it here and they're down big on it, and now they're thinking about selling it. So, sometimes I feel like with these trades, you don't always need a catalyst. You don't always need a good reason. It's just like, this is a real company. It's not getting rug pulled to zero like crypto. From a valuation perspective, there is a level where it does become too cheap, both on a forward P basis and also on a price to book basis. And I think the latter is maybe a bit more important for these in terms of trying to figure out cycle top peaks and troughs. But I just feel like if you're not going to buy somewhere, then what's the fucking point? And then, there's going to be people who will shit themselves to buy it here, and then it's going to go up 30% to here, and then they're going to buy it, and then they may make money from this move to that move if that ever happens. Who knows? But I feel like these are the prints when it just feels like as we spoke about last time, when you the time to buy things the most is when you feel like you're going to shit yourself. That's the best time to buy. Clip that. I've created this AI clipper thing where every time I say clip that, it should clip the last clip and then send it to me for approval and then post it. So I'm going to test if that works, but I feel like that's a good quote. So yeah, like I said, I'm not calling a low here. I have room to average lower. Could well get into the 900s, 800s. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? But this to me feels like a point that I want to take a stab. And for the last few days since we started this is exactly what I've been talking about. Like, I've just been really patient on this memory stuff. Patient. This thing was literally hitting almost 1600 just a few days ago, and I was feeling the FOMO, and I'm glad I didn't bite. And from here to 1600 is a massive move higher. That's like a 60% move higher, right? So, I think it's worth a punt. It's no more than a punt. And I like the fact that we're going into earnings. Because it's a reason for shorts to cover if they say something or announce something, or there's something for people to get which gets them bulled up on it or positive, or presents a slightly different story to what people are scared of within memory. And I think there are some other things for SanDisk that can be presented that maybe don't exist for the others. Then it can rally and shorts will cover. 6% short interest in this name with crazy vol. Like that could definitely be interesting. So yeah, I'm just in spot right now. I think I own about 70 grand worth of SanDisk now, actually, I guess. Let me have a look, because I just bought some more, didn't I? Yeah, $72,000 market value, $75,000 cost basis. I don't mind getting bigger in that. If that drops more pre-earnings, I don't mind getting bigger in that. Obviously, we have FOMC today. My hunch is, given the bloodbath we've seen over the last 2 or 3 days, if we get no hike, I think we can see a bit of a relief rally. I'm tempted to try and trade that by selling into that relief rally and then buying back when it drops again, because I don't think that rally will be sustained. That's my guess. I don't think it will be sustained, because I just think the market's in stocks are in just pure sell strength mode right now. So I'm tempted to try and trade that if it does happen. So I've kind of I've added some longs today. I bought SanDisk. I bought this Shaz, which is, mate, this thing's been fucking carted. This was down. I got to 1,000 shares in this, which was my target around here, and then I said, I'm not going to touch it. If it drops another 30%, then I'll maybe add more. Then literally like printed a like 23% candle lower yesterday. So I bought some more. I doubled the position today, actually. I don't really see any reason. So I've seen some rumors about situational awareness potentially blowing up. Remember, these guys own 20% of this. So maybe that's why it's very low. I think people might be levered long and getting liquidated on it. But this is another one where the short interest on this is actually really high. Short interest on shares is... let's have a look. I get these numbers from Bloomberg, by the way, from my Bloomberg terminal. Short interest on this is 12%, pretty high. I think that was like 15 or 16% just a few days ago. So it's come down. But 12% is quite high. And they also report earnings. Let's see. When do they report earnings? On the 6th of August, the day after SanDisk. This is a pre-revenue company, right? I think... let's have a look at what their revenue numbers are. I think the revenue, full year revenue for last year, let's have a look, is de minimis. So this tells me 2025 full year revenue was $1.6 million. LTM revenue is $1.9 million. This is something that trades at a market cap of just below $1.5 billion. So this is a crazy revenue multiple, but I think they announced something with Nvidia. The thing that to me is interesting is Anthropic. So these guys are based in Australia. It's basically an Australian neocloud, and Anthropic had a headline recently about expanding in Australia. You have situational awareness owning 20% of it. Obviously, they have a lot of ties to Anthropic. So I just think for them, a 20% stake, it's just below 20%, so they're not considered a, whatever it is, a concentrated holder. I can't remember the exact term for it. But you have to think they're going to have some influence in order to have a plan for it. You don't just buy 20% of a company without an exit strategy. I don't know what that exit strategy is, but it could be many things. The most bullish thing would be an acquisition of this company, but I don't know who would acquire. I don't know how all that would work. But and by the way, the price that they bought at, the price that Situational Awareness did their investment round at, was around 68. So the way I'm looking at it is I'm buying it, 30% below where they got in at, which is pretty nice. So this is a punt. This is definitely a punt. Don't really know much about the company other than it's pre-revenue, but I know what I do know is there's probably some higher forces who are just doing something in it, and I think that's going to be bullish. And I would just imagine this sell-off is maybe a retail-driven thing, maybe a leverage position. I don't really know, but this feels, for it to print such a big candle yesterday, feels more like a liquidation than mass panic. I'm sure lots of retail panicked into this for the same reason, because I think everyone sees the situational awareness stuff, and that probably caused that spike here. But again, same thing as SanDisk. Like, I looked at this when it was wherever it was around here, and I thought, fuck, it would have been nice to have bought it in the 40s. Well, guess what? It's barely holding on to the 40s right now, and again, nothing has really changed about the story. So you're gonna buy it or you're not gonna buy it. And so I added double my position in this. I own my cost base is 108k. Market value right now is about 83k. So some of my earlier prints were quite high, but I've reduced my average now to 54. So I think that's another one that I'm probably okay with the position there for now. This is sort of like this is a small cap, and it's the highest market value position in the equity book right now in the smallest market cap name, which is always the way I like to play it. That's an interesting one too. So I bought more of that today. Now I'm kind of just waiting. It's tempted to buy a bit more SanDisk. It feels like that this 1,000 level is going to be quite a strong psychological support level, but let's see. I think like I want that position size to be bigger into earnings, and it's just a game of trying to figure out how much lower it will go before that, if at all. I kind of want to look at calls in this as well. I want to look at buying calls in this. I might look. Today seems like a good day to look at calls. Let's have a look. Let's have a look where stuff's trading actually. Quote SanDisk options. So I guess we would need an August 7th call, 9-day calls. What strike do I want? If they have good numbers, this could legitimately get to 1200. Yeah, Vol's pretty expensive. 57 is a premium for 1200, 9-day 1200 calls. Sorry, I just got sidetracked on something. I'm gonna do a bit more analysis on this today, and it's tempting to roll the dice on it. Just don't know. It's maybe 1200 is the spot. Maybe even take a bit more risk off and go 1100. I just feel like it's not. If it has good earnings, it's probably, and people want it, and you have a good tape, it's like a 20% move, 30% move from here, higher. And you just want to go out the money and get something cheap, but we'll see. Oh shit, what have we done here? Yeah, stuff's just getting cut. Nebius is down. This is on my list too. This is another big situational awareness holding. Down 10% today. I think I kind of want to nibble on this too. I think let's buy some of this. This looks like a. I mean, this is right at that 200 day. Let's buy some Nebius. I hope you can see by the way with which I do my trades that not much thought goes into them, and as a result, please don't copy me. And also as a result, it shows that it's kind of gambling really more than trading, I would say. How much should I buy? 200 shares? That's a pretty meaty position. 30k. I think 30k of it is fine here. 200 shares. Okay, that's filled. 150. 152. Now watch it wick down to 140. When do these guys report earnings? Oh, these guys report soon too. Probably should have checked that first, but I think I like that. 29th. Oh fuck! These guys report today. Did they report today? Oops. Let's have a look. I mean, that's great. I think that's exactly what I want to do. No, they report on the 7th of August, but they haven't announced it yet. Okay. Yeah, I don't mind. I think the earnings thing is changing, where like this stuff is down so much that your upside downside is the dynamic of it, I think, is changing. But that's on the list to average down to. So I really, the things that I've bought in the last few days. Okay, I need to get the door. Give me 1 sec. I'll be back. Sorry about that. Just had to get the door. I saw. By the way, before I forget, I saw an interesting stat earlier today. The Kospi is down the same much that the S&P 500 was down during COVID. Mental move, right? Yeah. So the stuff that I bought here, it was like Tesla, SpaceX, SanDisk, Shaz, Nebius. All these things have been absolutely crushed in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm still. How much cash do we have in the book here? Let's see if these are feeding through now to the book. Yeah, I'm up on a day like today as well. I mean, I'd take that. Everything's getting destroyed, and my book's up 3k. That's because I'm still mostly in cash. I'm still 840. I'm still 57% cash. Again, a lot of that is Rekt, which is core position, not touching. Ponds, we'll speak about in a second, also not touching. So, yeah, I just every time I deploy some, I think, "Ugh," and then I look at how much cash I've got still, and I'm happy to fully deploy this. I just think it's still early. I think we can still see things move lower. Obviously, still have a big vol event tonight, so. SpaceX, I think 107.75 was the lowest level I got. I need to get bigger in SpaceX. I'm only at 33k market value there. I want to just trying to get below this average here. But I don't mind getting much bigger in this too. So just have to be disciplined. Just have to be patient. I think for once I've actually managed to have a good level of discipline in the last few days, which has been the right call. So just have to hang in there, I think. Okay, let's talk about crypto. Ponds took a bit of a hit yesterday from the highs. I think you guys have all seen it. There's just more and more launch pads that are coming to Robinhood, which I think is causing some concern. I would say the main thing you want to really look at is market share, fees, revenues, right? And if loads of launchpads come and none of them take any market share, then that's like even more bullish for Ponds, because it means it's fighting off the market share, off the competition. If they steal market share, then yeah, that's a concern. But if we look at the fees generated and yesterday's numbers, Ponds still the big leader. Let's Cash, which is the Cash Cat launchpad. I need to verify these numbers are correct, but it looks like it generated 142k in fees yesterday, which is pretty substantial. So that gives it a 19% share in the last 24 hours. I need to verify these numbers and make sure they're correct. Varo doesn't really seem like it scratched anything in the last 24 hours, 7 days perhaps, but I guess this had a big day on the first day and then it tailed off afterwards. But it's, Ponds are still well in the lead. And the other thing I think that's interesting about Ponds is still 0.6 times on a annualized revenue basis, multiple, still very cheap. The other thing that I think is interesting is we're obviously waiting for them to launch V2, and let's see if my X is working so I can bring up the tweets. Nope, X not working. Great. With V2, creators will get fees in stables or ETH rather than getting fees and token, which is bullish. And I feel like obviously if you don't want to dump your own token, or you want to actually be able to get money that feels more like real money. So my guess is people are probably holding off from launch. If you have a good idea and you want to launch it on Ponds, you're probably waiting for V2 before you launch. So I think that number goes higher. I think the revenue they make for their treasury will go higher because they're going to be also going to be taking in more non-token revenues, and therefore buybacks go higher. And with the hype, hopefully there's going to be some hype around it as well, and just by virtue of marketing, they get market share back too. So I think my hunch is this is going to be a good dip to buy in Ponds, and I think once V2 is launched, and I hope if the numbers are good, and the numbers go up, then we're going to retest all-time highs and go much higher than that. And I think this can trade at $100 million like very easily. If it traded at $100 million, it would still be at current revenues. It would still be a 2x multiple, which would still make it cheap to pump funds. So as someone who was like, I'm going to be disciplined, take profits. I haven't sold anything at all on this move lower or when it rallied, just because I think it's still so materially undervalued. And I think the sophistication level of trading on Robinhood, I think, is very low. Like, people seem to panic on things that I think are non-events, and then things bounce back. So I feel like so far this has been a story of, oh wow, this looks crazy cheap, surely I'm missing something. And the answer was no, I wasn't missing anything, and then it repriced. And that was the case when I bought this at $7 million FTV. I still think it's crazy cheap, because since $7 million, the whole platform has grown substantially, and it's maintained market share and fought off competition. And my hope is that it continues to grow at a faster rate post V2. So, which means it's still cheap. I still think it's crazy cheap. And then I'm still asking myself, am I missing something? And I think the answer will be no. I do think this is going to reprice a lot higher. I still believe that. Clip that. We'll wait and see. But I think that's my gut feel on Ponds. So I'm just kind of being patient, not doing much. I mean, what the fuck is this pipe dog thing that came yesterday, huh? What's this at now? Back to $60 million FTV. I mean, this is $74 million in volume. Crime at its best, really. So I think whoever ran this, by the way, they're obviously like rich, because I think they put in initially. I think they put in like 1,500 ETH in. Is this a V2 pool? I think it's a V2 pool, V3 pool, and that liquidity was burnt. So obviously, like, the guys running this have a large amount of capital, strong cabal. By the way, if you haven't figured this out, trading meme coins is not about the memes. So it's about whoever the cabal is behind it and what they want to do with it. And this chart, I guess this chart looks good. Classic cup and handle, probably going to go higher. I'm not touching it. I'm not going to get involved in the meme game. You never really know with, this is clearly cabal run, right? Like, you just don't know when they're going to rug it, or when they're going to start selling aggressively. And maybe there's not enough liquidity. There is a lot of liquidity to sell here, but if you're trying to paint a chart, this is a nice painting to make, and then just rug it there when everyone thinks it's going to break out. That could happen. Who knows? Or maybe it just keeps going higher, and this is a great chart, and it does go higher. I don't know, but I'm not buying a coin that is up 12,000% in the last 24 hours. That's already at $61 million market cap. That is clearly a crime coin, right? It's clearly a fucking crime coin. No, there's not one person in the world who disagrees with me that this is a crime coin. So all we're doing is just trying to guess the crime, right? We're trying to guess what the criminals are trying to do, right? We're trying to guess when they're going to rug it, how much they're going to run it up. How can you or I possibly have a advantage in that unless we have inside information or we've got valuable information from people, which I don't. So I'm not going to get involved. I will just stand on the sidelines and watch it. And I'm 100% sure lots of people will make money on it. And I'm 100% sure lots of people will completely do their bollocks on it. And I'm more likely to fall into the latter category, as I'm just completely blind to it. Now, if I had seen this I think this happened overnight while I was sleeping, but if I had seen this at these levels, and if I saw that much liquidity had been added to the pool, I would have bought, because that to me is a sign where it's like, okay, there are some big boys involved in this and they're going to run it up. And I think people probably saw that and made money on it. Sadly, I missed it. I wasn't... it's given me an idea, actually, on something, but I need to write that down. How do I remind myself of this? Let's go to the herpes app I have. Remind me to... I'm not going to say the next part. When a... other... Yeah, okay, cool. I've got lots of ideas on stuff. So easy to build the stuff with AI now. So yeah, I don't even know why am I even speaking about a fucking pipe dog on this stream. I guess because it's up a lot, but it's not. I'm not doing. I'm not doing anything with it. I just brought it up to sort of cope, and then tell everyone it's a crime coin. That's literally of zero value to anyone. Although I guess I gave myself an idea. So everything. There's a reason for everything. I don't really know what else to look at in crypto. Just it's been quiet. Honestly, it's been quiet. Bitcoin is... What's interesting to me is Bitcoin is still low-key bid. It just seems to continue to outperform stocks. Let's bring up... Bitcoin's flat on the day. Let's do Bitcoin versus NASDAQ. Can I do that here? No, I need to do it on a different page. But yeah, massive outperformance of Bitcoin versus stocks. Just another day where stocks are hitting new local lows and Bitcoin is flat. I do think that tells you a lot. Oh, even Rekt is up today. Rekt is up nice 2%. This has done pretty well, actually. Look at that wick. What the hell happened there? You know what? I think there's been short cover. I think there were shorts in it. I saw the funding was negative yesterday, which means people are short. There are perps on KuCoin, but that's quite a tasty wick, huh? Nice to see that's up. We'll be turning on subscriptions soon, and all of those net revenues will go towards buying Rekt. And because the margin for this product is a lot higher than drinks, there isn't really a cost. We have small software costs, I guess, hosting costs, that kind of stuff. But the biggest cost is my time, which I guess is free. I guess my time is free to Rekt. I don't know. So I think the more cool shit we can do, bring in revenues, and then continue to buy back this token, the bigger the impact it will have. We're massive way down from... That's crazy. It's crazy how much lower we are from there. I mean, this is probably many coins that you look at will look like this, but it's a pretty supply controlled coin, because 33% is held by the Token Foundation. I think there are some big whales in it. Everyone can see the holders list, so it does move quite aggressively, I think, when there's inflow. So I'm hopeful that over the next few months we see some good buybacks go into this, and we'll keep you guys posted on that. So, but it's nice to see, in the sea of red, the only on my list here, it's the only coin that's green, and Bitcoin. So and that's good to see. And I think parts of that also, like, forget, forget the buybacks. Well, don't forget the buybacks, but away from the buybacks, we are now streaming every day. All the Rekt branding and logos are there every day. We have quite a vibrant community again in the Discord now that's going every day. So there's emails going out every day. There's going to be more clips and stuff coming through every day. So I think from a marketing standpoint, the visibility of Rekt has really improved massively, I think, and all of that helps as well. You know, if you hope, I would hope someone looks at this, or also someone who's holding this who wasn't sure whether to hold it or not now thinks, oh, you know what, like, you know, maybe let me see how it goes and give them a chance. So, yeah, that's an interesting, definitely an interesting one to watch out for too, I think. And it is one of the things in my book that I'm up on. Up 30k on it, great. Up today as well. Crypto book saving the other book, but this is all relatively small risk, you know. $1.5 million market value, of which 810k is cash. So, still a pretty defensive portfolio. I guess I'll go on to questions, comments, all that kind of stuff. Let me go through them now. Tom, hope you're well. Tom says he can't attend the live today due to work. Hopefully the recording will be uploaded on YouTube. It didn't work yesterday, but I think I've solved that issue, and I'll upload the old episodes to YouTube too. Do I intend to sell SpaceX before or after earnings with my scalp trade? What are my thoughts on Epic? Epic Duck. So SpaceX, look, I don't have a strong view on the company itself, and it really is a trade into earnings for me. So I will look to sell it. I will definitely look to take profits on it. It's always one of those where sometimes you have a good call on something where you were looking for a scalp and you read a bit more into it and you get a bit smarter on it, and then you realize, oh, I did actually catch the lows on something and the momentum has changed. And if that does happen, I may look to run some of it. I think it just depends on my position size, but generally speaking, the mistake I've made is not taking profits in the last few weeks and months, and I just want to make sure I keep doing that. In terms of a market view, I still feel today is going to be, whatever happens today is going to be will have a big impact on my market view, but I still feel like August, September could be difficult months. So, you know, could SpaceX have good numbers? Could it rally 15% on them? And then could it then just trend lower into more unlocks for the rest of August and September? Absolutely, yes. In fact, that's probably what is going to happen because I think there's more unlocks. I think if you look at I did a terminal session on this. Hopefully it came through. On SpaceX, yeah. Read full transcript. Let's see. So unlocks. Yeah. Q2. So look, here's all the unlocks, right? So if you're a pro subscriber, when I put something into a LLM model, you get all the logs. And look, it's not like no one can do this. Everyone can do this. It's not hard just to put this into ChatGPT or Claude. But I guess the idea is you kind of see what prompts I'm putting in and what I'm looking at to get an idea of like live thoughts in my head beyond just what I do on these streams or beyond what I put in the Discord or beyond the trades themselves. And I think I guess this is some deeper research that you get from it. And this stuff is mental, right? You just, one prompt, bang, you get all this information. Previously, it would take you hours of research, or you'd have to have a research analyst. You don't need any of these things anymore, in my opinion, if you are able to get the information and know how to interpret it. But anyway, so there's an unlock here. Now, if this hits, I think 175 if it's at 175 at this point, there's even more that's unlocked. So here, the 175 threshold, but that's another 10%. But I don't think, that's obviously very far away from the current price. So unless it's something crazy that makes it go above there, but that's something to be aware of, that 175 level, if the price is there at unlock, it would also trigger another 10% to be released. But you can see, day 70, another 7%, day 90, another 7%, day 105, another 7%. That takes you through to the end of September, where an additional 21% is unlocked. So for this, I'm glad that you asked that, because it's kind of reaffirmed to me in my head that I don't want to battle against unlocks. Not everyone sells the unlocks. If you paint a very bullish narrative, things can go a lot higher still, and people hold on to it. But given my macro view, barring that changing, is still cautious for the next 2 months, I feel like I'm going to sell this post earnings regardless of what happens. I guess there's a few days, almost a month between the unlock post earnings and afterwards. But actually no, it's 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm probably just going to move on from it and sell it. I hope that's the answer there for you, Tom. Thoughts on Epic? Look, I think Epic Duck as a coin, Mando almost launched accidentally on stream. He could have just left it and not done anything with it, but he put a lot of effort into it over the last couple of years, and I think he's made it clear that it's something that is that he cares about, and that's tied to him, and that he'll, when he is successful in other parts of what he's doing, will use to give back to people. He's had a good run trading and making P&L this year, so he spent a lot of that money buying Epic, and a lot of that will now be airdropped to people. That's something he didn't have to do. So it just once again shows that I think he's acting in good faith, and it's not just, it's never going to be deserted. I think that's my view on that. What do I think about the Pons ecosystem on Robinhood? Will there be strong growth next? Yeah, look, we covered Pons earlier. This pipe dog thing just keeps going higher, huh? We covered Pons earlier, and I'm bullish. I think V2 will be bullish, and we just have to keep tabs on the market share metrics. I need to sit up a bit. Market share metrics, etc., to make sure they maintain the momentum. But I am bullish on the Robinhood ecosystem, and therefore I'm bullish on Pons. I would love to see a collaboration between Pons and Robinhood themselves, or an investment from the Robinhood venture arm into Pons. That would be the most bullish thing for me. Okay, questions. Casually watching, and these charts are lol. They look like altcoin charts in 2025. Yeah, I mean, these charts, some of these stock charts are just fucking mental. They really are. Yeah, look at this. They really are absolutely mental. I mean, this to me is mental. This is, like I said, it's the stock exchange of an entire country, the entire country of South Korea. This is their stock exchange, and this is the chart. Like, how mad is that? It's absolutely insane. But look at this. Fucking hell, this is crazy. But I do think, one way to justify this parabolic move is, I do think AI is the biggest technological shift we've ever seen in our lives. Maybe as big as since the internet, but this is bigger than the internet. Like, the internet was great, but this is it's going to render so many jobs and industries obsolete. Man, this entire Rekt Mkts thing was created with AI. Every day, all I do is just do AI stuff, and I'm just, there isn't a day that goes by where I just think this is fucking insane, and also that so many people are not using this or doing this, and I use it so much. And there are people that I know who are familiar with AI, familiar with the trade, etc., and I still use it more than anyone else does. I think of all my friends and colleagues, I don't know a single person who uses it more than me. and because I use it so much, I feel like I really realize how big it's going to become and how game changing it's going to be in terms of just changing the way people work. And so when I think about it that way, that's what makes this move to me seem a bit more warranted, because it's two big bottleneck companies in that space that are required for it to grow. The dynamics of that can change, but I think it's also what makes me feel like I want to take a stab at buying these dips, because I don't think the difference between these, to comment on that comparison to altcoin charts, the difference between these and altcoins is that altcoins have no use and they go to zero in 99% of cases. These are all real companies that are actually generating real revenues that have a massive use case and a massive growth story. So, wow, interestingly, this is quite far above its moving averages here. But, so it's like this stuff isn't going to zero. It can't go to zero, and there comes a level where it becomes incredibly cheap, and I do think it will rebound. Even if you have it could rebound as soon as tomorrow if you have a Fed that people feel dovish about. I think there's a lot of fears going into that tonight. So, yes, very similar to altcoin charts, but the thing about altcoin charts is they drop 90% and then they drop another 90%. I think these stocks can drop 70 or 80%, which they have done in some cases, but I don't think they're going to drop another 80%. That's the difference. That's my call, I guess. That's the bet and risk I'm taking. And started buying now. I kind of feel like it's going lower, so that's why I'm so heavy in cash still. But I don't mind if we drop. What do I take as a bellwether here? I guess we can take Kospi maybe. If we drop back to, oh gosh, this is. This is the wrong chart. This is fucking mental chart. Let me go NASDAQ. I mean, what the fuck? This is just madness. It's so mental, isn't it? This makes me want to buy SK Hynix. Where this is now. This is the thing that's been torched the most. But if we go to March, April levels on NASDAQ as our reference, let's say, I want to be fully deployed in that cash balance. I want this number to be fully deployed. Now the question is, how well have I done with timing the deployment of it? That's the part I'm not sure about. That's the tricky part. That's the part I just don't really know. I'm just guessing. Should average down a little bit lower, average down. The hard part is when you have an up day and you think, fuck, is this the reversal? Am I meant to add risk now? Who knows? It's just, for me, it is just guessing. It is really just guessing. I'm just stressing that as much as I can. I am just guessing on this stuff. Basically gambling. And hopefully coming out this other side making money. It's been a good run for the last 2 weeks. Something to be said for that, I think. But, yeah, I just don't know when to... Like, if we ripped tomorrow after a good FOMC, I'd kind of be like, fuck, I should have bought more risk today. But obviously, if I go and buy more risk today and we puke, I'm going to be like, fuck, I should have waited. So, I don't know. I just think it will take a bit longer to truly bounce, and we could have some corrections. This could still be a correction. I don't know, but the move is to have a bit more have some risk, have decent risk on now, and if shit hits the fan, have enough powder to add. And something just tells me, I just really feel like we're going to have a big opportunity to make money on stocks and crypto, but specifically on stocks in the next few weeks. It's more of a gut feeling than anything else, but I think there's going to be an opportunity to make like some big money on stocks. in the second half of the year, and that's kind of what I'm keeping the cash ready for. So let's see. I just started talking about myself again without answering questions. Let me see if there's any more questions. Is Rekt Pro now open for monthly subs? Not yet, but soon will be. We're getting closer, so keep an eye out. Make sure you're signed up to the wait list. If not, go to markets.rekt.com. But yeah, very soon. Someone said these terminal transcripts are very difficult to read. Yeah, they are a bit. What I might do is improve it so improve the AI summary of it, I think. And then you can read the raw logs. So what I might do is convert it into a report with AI. And then someone can read, if you want to read the transcript, you can. That's probably a better way to do it, I think. So I'll do it. Appreciate that comment. I'll make sure I fix that. In fact, while I'm here, where is that? Here we go. Let's say people are commenting saying that these terminal logs are hard to read. For each terminal log, generate a report that is easy to read, like a do we want it like investment bank style, or do we want it a bit more retail style? Like if it were a trading or research note to a retail investor, the user should then be able to see the AI summary, the raw log, and see an AI overview of the log, which is displayed on the main page. A brief. Then the option to click on the full report, AI generated, and an option to see the raw log. Okay, that will ship today. Appreciate that those comments. And again, this is just another thing about how mental AI is. You can just give me a comment. I can literally just put it in, and it will get done in a few minutes. Like, that's crazy. Are there any good guides on how to build out agents? I put out some tweets about it. I haven't really. I would like to create more AI content within Rekt Mkts Pro as well. So, I'll think about how we can do that and put some guides out. I mean, when I say I will think about putting guides out, it will really be the agents writing the guides, and they'll do a better job than me. But yeah, we'll try and create some more AI content and stuff for you guys too, which I think is really useful stuff to know. Anyway, we're coming up to time now, so let's call it a day there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Everyone stay safe in these terrible markets. Let's see what happens with the FOMC tonight, and I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope everyone has a good day and good luck for the trading day.